No museum or gallery devotes more time and space to the work of contemporary Cincinnati artists than the Carnegie inCovington. There are 4 small but great local exhibitions on view there through early February 2015. Here we meet William Messer, John Lanzador, and David Parks and take you on quick tours of what you'll find on the walls of the Carnegie.
Initially I thought this has something to do with Monet, and I gradually realized no, it's just that this was what Monet constructed to use for his paintings 100 years ago, and I'm kind of ripping him off. I'm using the same thing that he put all that energy into creating for my own purposes. I didn't seek it at all. I wasn't a photographer of landscapes or gardens or flowers. In fact, I was kind of snooty about that, that did not interest me. I photographed people, clothed and unclothed. I photographed buildings, especially at night. Some of the pictures of the gardens, I just kept looking back at them and thinking, gee, there's something interesting going on there. Maybe I should go back and take another crack at it. And that became another crack and another crack and another crack, and it ended up being 20 years of visiting the garden at least once every year. Not only did I discover that the structure of the garden is much more apparent when you're not sort of overwhelmed by the colors, and you're not trying to do what so many photographers have done here, which is to kind of replicate Monet's palette. And even the director of the garden said something along the lines of, this is the best work I've ever seen here, but we couldn't even sell it at the gift shop because nobody would want black and white pictures of this subject.
The way it began was really just needing artwork for my apartment. And it kind of grew. I'm like, I need a wall to cover up. What can I do for this wall? And I was a printmaker as well. And so I had some carvings that I already had done, that I already had hanging on the wall. And I thought, why don't I just make some carvings specifically to paint, to hang on the wall. And the first one was a bowling lady, and I needed more, and so I kind of created more and more, and it kind of grew from there. After 10, I'm like, why don't I just keep going? There's so many forms of art that I love. First, folk art. I do love tattoo flashes. I love Andy Warhol. I love all the pop artists and illuminated manuscripts, and so I wanted to capture all those different things in my artwork. And with this, it's really simple to kind of keep the bowling lady in it as the factor that repeats, and everything else I could kind of play with. With this, I have 232 things to look at. So really, I'm forcing a viewer to spend a lot of time looking at the artwork. My goal is 300. I'm a school teacher, and to stay enthused about what I teach, I make at home. So it really puts me in a place where I really love what I do, and I teach what I do.
This was totally unintentional as a project. I just started taking photographs of my environment in the city center, and as I continued, I wanted to go further out to get more images. It's the alleys, it's the back streets, it's the people. Not a lot of people in these images, but it's the architecture and the neighborhoods of Denver that I captured. And in those days, film was the standard then, so it was more important that you photograph the frame that you really intended to photograph. I do want to get back into the streets again, and not so much like I did in Denver, because these were mostly shot on a two-wheeled bicycle. I walked or I rode a bike all over Denver for years. Wore out a lot of tires.